People don't lose interest suddenly. It only looks sudden from the outside. What feels like a switch flipping overnight is usually the final moment of a process that started long before you noticed. No argument, no explanation, no warning, just a quiet shift, and then distance. The confusion phase. Most people experience this at least once. Someone who was engaged, responsive, emotionally present, and then something changes. Shorter replies, less curiosity, delayed responses, until eventually interest disappears completely. And the most unsettling part is not the loss itself, it's the lack of a clear reason. No closure, no final conversation, just unanswered questions. Interest does not disappear, it dissolves. Interest doesn't vanish in a moment, it erodes, quietly, incrementally. It fades when emotional stimulation drops, when novelty declines, when internal reward weakens. People don't consciously decide to lose interest. Their nervous system does it for them. What once felt engaging starts to feel familiar, and familiarity, without depth, quickly becomes invisible. The role of novelty and attention. The brain is wired to respond to contrast. Newness activates attention. Predictability numbs it. This is why early interactions feel intense. Curiosity is high, interpretation is generous, but over time, patterns emerge. And once patterns are predictable, the emotional charge weakens. This doesn't mean something is wrong. It means the stimulus is no longer activating the same response. Interest is maintained by internal reward. People stay interested when interaction provides internal payoff. That payoff can be validation, excitement, reassurance, power, relief from boredom. When that reward decreases, interest follows. Not because the person became bad, but because the experience became neutral. The brain doesn't chase neutrality, it seeks stimulation. Why you don't get a warning? Most people don't announce declining interest. Why? Because it creates discomfort. Explaining emotional withdrawal requires clarity most people don't have. Instead, they distance silently. Less effort, less initiative, less presence. From their perspective, nothing dramatic is happening. From yours, everything is changing. The illusion of stability. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming consistency equals stability. Just because interest looks stable doesn't mean it is. Interest is dynamic. It fluctuates with internal states, stress, environment, alternatives, self-perception. You don't see these shifts, you only feel the outcome. Attention moves before interest ends. Before interest disappears, attention relocates to other people, other goals, other sources of stimulation. This shift happens quietly. No announcement, no conflict, just reallocation of energy. And once attention is gone, interest follows shortly after. Why people blame themselves? When interest fades, the mind looks inward. What did I do wrong? What changed? What could I have fixed? But interest doesn't operate on moral logic. It operates on neurological response. You didn't fail. You weren't inadequate. The stimulus simply stopped activating the same internal reward loop. The danger of chasing lost interest. Once interest declines, chasing accelerates loss. Why? Because pursuit removes tension, and tension is what sustains attention. Explaining more, trying harder, becoming overly available. All of this communicates that the dynamic has shifted, and shifted dynamics rarely restore attraction. Interest cannot be negotiated. Interest is not a contract. It cannot be reasoned into existence. You can explain your value perfectly and still be ignored. Because interest isn't logical, it's experiential. People don't choose what stimulates them, they respond to it. Acceptance versus interpretation. Most suffering comes from interpreting loss of interest. Acceptance is simpler, not easier, simpler. Interest changed, attention moved, the dynamic ended. No villain, no failure, just a shift. Conclusion: clarity over control. Understanding this reframes everything. You stop chasing explanations that don't exist. You stop personalizing silence. You stop negotiating attention. Because interest is revealed through behavior, not reassurance. And once behavior changes, the message is already delivered. Behavior doesn't lie. It adapts. If you learn to observe it clearly, you stop being confused by sudden distance.